some insane Brock Samson theories. I have been going a bit crazy. I might have caught COVID over the last couple of days. And Brock Samson is a god. Like a literal god and maybe a real god.
Keenan? Okay, I'm just gonna throw this out there. What if it is Zeus? The actual god Zeus? All pissed off that nobody cares about Zeus anymore.
So, I think Brock might have super soldier serum somewhere in his blood. Brock is a motherfucking badass and has been a badass since he was a child. Well, we don't see him as a child, but we do see him in college playing football. So maybe he's got part of Jonas's super serum. We see the Action Man, Sergeant Hatred. And, well, why couldn't he? We never know who Brock's father is. I doubt it is Jonas, but could be the Action Man. He was a bit of a player. It could have been some other character we've never met injected with super serum. Could this be one of Jonas's creations? We know that Brock and Rusty are more or less the same age. I think there's 1 or 2 years in between them, but
it was a freshman. You believe that? That's all I need. Some kid tagging along, or wanting me to show him the ropes. It's gonna totally harsh the vibe of Casa de Venture.
So, is he a spaz or what?
I don't know yet. He moved his stuff in when I wasn't here. But dig, his name's Brock Samson. Can you imagine?
That means that if Rusty's a clone, Brock could also be a clone. Well, maybe less of a clone, but definitely some kind of super genetic modified baby experiment that Jonas put inside some woman living in Nebraska. This man was messed up. Brock died. Season 1 Brock is significantly more brutal than the Brocks throughout the seasons. Do you know why that is? Because Brock doesn't come back. In House of the Mummies Part 2, we see 2 Brocks time travelling on adventures trying to keep Hank from dying.
I can't make it. I want to die. I want the caveman to eat me.
Hang on, Hank! Oh. Cut him open! We're gonna put the boy in there!
We see them in Hoth. We see them working together in an ancient Egyptian pyramid, and I think we see them together in ancient Rome, ancient Greece, mugging Edgar Allan Poe. No, that's just one Brock. But what if our Brock didn't come back? What if we got the less brutal Brock and the real Brock is still out there, searching for his way back into the Venture life? Maybe he is, in fact, Scarebear.
Thank you. You sure you don't want anything?
Brock has a half-brother. We never really find out who that half-brother is, but surely they're going to bring him into the movie at some point. My best guess is Rocco.
Quarter Polish, quarter Winnebago. You lost your virginity at 14, have one brother, and you enjoy motocross.
He seems like a pretty obvious choice. He's a big, beefy lad. He's very well trained in combat, and he's got an important role throughout the show.
Hey, what'd you do to her?
But I saw a couple of other ones on the Reddit. Stars and Garters, the Captain America ripoff from New York, and also the bully of Spider-Man.
Just a little pro bono super work, courtesy of the CAL. Saved your boy there from this blonde bruiser and his killer karate bot.
He's blonde, he's muscly, he's got the physique. He could be a Brock brother. Of course, I also saw one that made me laugh. In the film, I think it's Step Brothers with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. We have one character with good genes and one character with bad genes. And this theory suggested that Brock is the good genes and Rusty is the bad genes. They are close in age. They could be related somehow, but I doubt it. I know Jonas was a player, but you would have expected Brock to at least inherit some of his more distinctive traits. That one also had the Brock is a Hank clone. No, Hank is a Brock clone and Dean is a Rusty clone sort of theory attached onto it, which I've sort of done another video on at some point. But Brock can also understand Helper, and there's only a few characters in the show that can do that, most of which have Venture Brothers' DNA running through them. Of course, it could just be through patience and understanding, though I'm not sure Hatred ever managed to understand Helper. And Dermot did once he figured out he was a Venture Brother. Of course, the Monarch doesn't understand Helper, but the Monarch will probably never understand Helper because he refuses to learn. Though Dr. Girlfriend can. Maybe Dr. Girlfriend is secretly a Venture. And finally, Brock explains to the boys how he would kill them in their sleep in Season 1, which...
Hey, Brock.
Yeah.
How would you do it?
You're asleep. Quick jerk of the neck. Never feel a thing.
Which means he probably has. If one of the boys dies and the other doesn't, I think Brock may have had to restart the other. Simply for practical reasons. I guess slugs come in pairs. Because slugs must come in pairs, and also when the two parental figures are describing the boy's death, they say 14 outright. Which makes me think, and we know Hank's died separately at least a couple times, and Brock may be brutal enough to have murdered Dean just for simplicity's sake. I mean, if Dean had seen his brother die, it would cause a lot of problems. Unlike Sphinx, Doc doesn't have a memory eraser.